One big misperception about healthy eating is that it's an expensive luxury, when in reality, you can actually eat really well regardless of what your budget is. And that's why in this video, I'm going to talk to you about some ideas and strategies that you can actually use in order to reduce your weekly food bill. And this video is going to be a little bit different. I've got a list of bullet points that I'm going to talk you through one at a time. And I highly advise you get a pen and paper and make some notes and think about your current routine, where you shop, the way that you prepare your meals, and use the ideas that I give you as inspiration to think about how you can apply this to your life. So the first one on the list is planning ahead. When you have a meal plan and you know what you're going to be eating for the next 7 days, you can really think about what ingredients you need to buy. Now, this is going to help you cut down on impulse buys, and it's also going to help go a long way in cutting down on the amount of food which you waste. I've got my meal plan to the point now where I can't actually remember the last time that I threw food away. I know exactly what I need on a weekly basis, so nothing ever goes to waste. And that goes a long way in saving money that otherwise would have gone in the bin. And once you have your meal plan, then you can really put together a shopping list. You can put down exactly what you need and set yourself a rule that when you go into the supermarket, you only buy what's on the list. Far too many people fall into the trap of going aimlessly in, wandering around and looking at different items and buying foods that they don't even need or otherwise wouldn't have if they had a list. And this will go a long way in helping your weight loss goals as well, because often those impulse in the moment decisions are based around junk foods and snacks and chocolate bars, and by making a rule that you only buy what you need is going to help you save money and actually move closer towards your goals. And one way, if you are struggling with this and you are an impulse buyer, what you could do actually is shop online. This is an easy way of taking your meal plan, taking the ingredients, throwing it straight in there and getting it delivered to you. It's going to save you time and it's going to save you money because you're not actually chasing those in the moment decisions. And then from there you can start doing it regularly. And most supermarkets actually have a delivery service that often is free. So it's going to be an easy change that's going to help your wallet and your waistline. And one really important thing to think about with that as well is starting to find ways to cook more of your own meals at home, especially when you have a large family to feed. If you have to buy multiple meals out, that can very quickly add up, especially if you're doing it multiple times a week. So by looking to cook the majority of your meals at home, you're going to be able to spend more on nutritious foods that is actually having control over what you're putting into yours and your family's body. So one thing you can do on that as well, when you are cooking, is you can make larger portions. That's then going to give you extra meals that you can freeze, you can keep in the fridge for a later date, or you could pack and take for lunch the next day. Now, as far as the packing the lunch, that can save you a lot of money over the course of the week or month, because while it may not seem like much in the moment, when you add it up every single day eating out, not only do you have no control over what's going into your food, those amounts of spend actually add up very quickly. But also with the bulk cooking in large portions, one thing to easily overlook is the fact that you're going to save on electricity and gas as well, which is going to cut down on your monthly expenses, helping you save money in the long run with that as well. So what you can do in the supermarket to actually cut down as well is make sure you don't buy any pre-packaged vegetables or processed foods. Often when you buy ready diced items, the fact that there's man-made time gone in there in order to prepare them means that often they'll cost 4 or 5 times the amount that you would have paid if you just bought them in their original form. So yes, it might mean 30 seconds chopping up those carrots or that broccoli or whatever it is, but if you're trying to save money, that's going to go a long way in making that shift. And what you can do as well is make sure when you are shopping, don't buy empty calories. It's stuff like soft drinks and snacks and chocolate. Say to yourself that you do your normal shop first, and then anything left over can go towards that and your treats. So prioritize what you need and then use what you've got left for what you actually want. And while you are doing your shopping, have a look for sales or opportunities to stock up your cupboard or freezer. But this can go one of two ways. Only aim to stock up on stuff that has a long shelf life and that you use on a regular basis. So stuff like rice and pasta or frozen vegetables or meat, stuff that isn't going to just lie in the back of the cupboard that you bought for the sake of it just because it was on sale. And really be careful for those buy one get one free or buy one get one half price offers that are often on foods high in calories that you don't actually need 2 of and you might land up throwing away. So make sure you set yourself a rule that you're only going to buy it if it's on offer, if it's something that was on your list anyway, or something that you know that you're going to use. So one thing you can do in order to start saving money as well is go meatless for some meals. I know that sounds terrifying for a lot of people. A few years ago, couldn't have imagined eating meals without meat, but it was a transition that I made that I actually started really enjoying. You could start off by one dinner a week going meatless, or what you could do is set yourself a rule. You could go vegetarian before 6 p.m., have a vegetarian breakfast and lunch, and that's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. One of my favourite strategies when you're going in supermarkets is check the going out of date section. Here you can get some fantastic deals on everything from fruits to vegetables to meat to bread that often are still perfectly fine, but due to the way that food labels are done, they'll put the use by and best before date days before those foods actually become bad. So you can do that to really stock up on foods that you're paying a fraction of the price that are still perfectly good, especially if you're going to cook them on the day or put them into a stew. One way you can actually cut out the middleman and save yourself money as well is start looking for farmers markets or butchers or fish merchants. By going directly to the source, you cut out the supermarket and their profit, and also there you're supporting local business. So depending where you live, you might be able to find a local farmers market. You could go once a week, stock up on your fruits and vegetables. But one really important thing to consider with that is only buy produce that's in season. If you're buying something that only grows in the summer and the winter, you're going to pay a premium because it's going to have to be imported. So this might mean getting a little bit clever with your meal plans and foods that you eat on as you change throughout the year, but also that gets you to experience new things, have a look at what's actually going on around you, and try different foods that keeps your diet and palate interested. So like I spoke about in one of the previous videos, one way you can cut down on your food bill as well is go for frozen foods. They're frozen directly at the source, so you know that they're full of nutrients, they're all intact, but because they're frozen, often they'll be cheaper. And they also have the added bonus of having that longer shelf life, so if you are prone to throwing stuff away, that's going to help you cut down on your waste. And on the same side of that, one thing you should start becoming aware of is when stuff in your fridge is starting to go bad. If you do have a meal plan and you know that something's not going to get used up, freeze it and save it for a later date, whether that's your vegetables, your fruit, different bits of meat, rather than letting it just go to waste in the fridge, and then you can actually reuse it. So one thing you can do as well is try cheaper brands. If you've seen it on TV, you might have seen the TV shows where they get people to try going away from branded labels and not actually be able to tell the difference. And often you pay a premium just because of the fancy marketing on it, whereas the supermarket own is often the same or similar flavour. Sometimes they'll even be more nutritious, and just because something's more expensive doesn't mean that it's better. So if you experiment with different goods that are on offer, you might actually find something that you prefer. One really important thing to think about as well is what you actually have in your cupboard. Go through and look at the different foods in there. You might have bought something a while ago that you completely forgot about that might give you some inspiration for some meals, and make sure you use everything up before you buy more. I don't know about you, but I've fallen into that trap before where you buy stuff that you've already got and it piles up and then never gets used. So before you making your meal plan, have a look at what's on hand. Think about the week ahead and how you can start incorporating it. A couple of other ideas as well. Don't shop when you're hungry. This is one of the biggest mistakes. When you go in there and you're thinking with your stomach rather than your brain, you can land up buying foods that you otherwise wouldn't have or you don't actually need. So make sure that you've actually eaten beforehand so you can actually have a proper plan. And again, set yourself a rule that you only buy what's on your list. And the final one of these doesn't really work for everyone, but if you've got the opportunity to do so, you might be able to grow your own. This is great for actually getting herbs and spices, which can actually be quite expensive when you buy them every week or pre-packaged. But when you buy the plant and you grow, that's going to be a great way to spice up your meals, to make them interesting, and they're filled with nutrients as well. And it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. So that's just a few ways that you can save money on your weekly shop. But if you can think of others, please go and share it with the community, because you're going to be helping out other people improve the way that they eat as well. And let me know in the comments in the community as well what you think of these ideas, what you've taken, how much money it's saved you, and how much it's made life easier as well.